What's going on, Shady people? ShadyPenguinn here, bringing you the second day of Talk to May, where we're taking the whole month of May and sitting down and having these sit-down vloggy types of talks instead of just doing gaming and just doing what we're doing and bouncing around. This kind of gives us sort of focus, I guess. It gives us consistency at the very least, and you guys seem to be loving this. Thank you so much for all the support. This is very different for our channel. This is very, very new, so it's awesome to see a lot of the shady people coming out, sharing their stories, sharing their comments, suggesting topics, all that fun stuff. Keep doing that. If your topic doesn't get chosen, please don't be afraid to copy and paste your comment from the previous video and add on to it based on what we talk about in today's video. But we have 30 days total, 31 total technically, but the first day was already chosen. Now, of course, we have 29 left after today's topic. And tomorrow I want to go ahead and lighten up a little bit because today's topic is semi-heavy again. And I want to throw something light. So if you have some light suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. We can always do these heavy things, of course, but kind of just want to pick up with a little bit of light conversation, maybe about gaming, maybe entertainment, lighter talks of life, whatever it might be. But leave those suggestions and your other ones as well down below. If the topic is juicy enough, maybe I'll cover it regardless of it not being light. But today's comment comes from Seeking1548, who says, how can you find the time to keep yourself happy when you need to spend most of it working? Myself, I have to work super hard to get a lot of it just getting to me that I don't have the time for myself or for others. I was hoping maybe you had some ideas on how to manage your work life and your social life. So this is a comment that I resonate with oh so very much, 100%. So Seeking, judging by your comment, you don't find any fulfillment in your work. You said, how can you find the time to keep yourself happy when you need to spend most of it working? So right there is a very real struggle that I struggled with for a very long time. So for the longest time growing up, I was always told that if you love what you do for work, you'll never work a day in your life. And that is a very sweet sentiment. It is super sweet. It's really cute, but that's about all it is in my opinion. Of course, I got to preface this video in case you're just stumbling upon it. You don't understand what Talk to May is. Everything I say in this video is based on my views, experiences, and personal beliefs. Of course, this is not universal. Nothing, very few things in this life are universal besides death and taxes. So please, 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 I'm not a professional. I do not know your whole story. I do not know your whole life, but maybe you can glean a little bit of insight, a little bit of advice, support, or maybe just enjoy listening to me ramble. I don't know. Hopefully you'll get something out of this video, but please understand you might think differently. And if you do, that is awesome. Please be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts down below. With that though, I think that expression is a load of malarkey. I really do. It is true that you can enjoy your work much more if you enjoy it, but work will always be work. Work will always eventually become work. It is just human nature. It is human nature that even if you have the best job in the world that you can imagine, you're going to get tired of it. You're going to get frustrated with it some days. Some days it's not going to feel like the best job. Some days it's going to feel tough, and that's okay. I think the first step to really being happy in our world, maybe not the first step, but one of the first steps, especially when it comes to like living, like once you start adulting, because like you're saying, once you start adulting, you realize how much you have to spend working. And I struggled with it so long thinking, why in the world would I want to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week? And in some cases, you work those hours just to get by. Let's preface this real quick because I know it's going to be very easy for a lot of you guys watching this saying,
a full-time YouTuber giving me advice on work? He's got not the slightest idea of what work is. He talks to a camera and plays video games.
And I will be the first to tell you that this job that I do now, full-time content creation, is a lot less typical work than my previous job. So little backstory on me. My very first job was at McDonald's, and I worked there for over a year, and whatever, it was typical 16-year-old teenager, just getting money so I can go out to the mall. Never really went to the mall. So I can buy stuff. So I can buy stuff at lunch and all that fun stuff, and mainly save up my money for a car. So I was doing that. Then when I was 17, I started working at a supermarket. From 17 to 23? How old am I now? I'm 26. Oh my gosh. Probably 23. I was working at supermarkets. I was working my way up the chain, trying to become assistant store manager. It was literally my career path. College didn't really work out for me. We could save that for another video for sure. But college didn't really work out for me. So I was working really hard. And I think by the time I was 19, I was a department manager or very close to it. I was working 40 hours a week when I was 19, guaranteed. And then I had a second job as well. I've always been a person that understood if you want stuff in life, you're gonna have to work for it. That was always my mentality. Like, I just knew, yeah, I had to work. I still had the mentality of, man, I wish I didn't have to work this much. But to be honest, it took a conscious effort. So when I was a department head, like, there were definitely some really good aspects to it. I even tell my wife sometimes still that I wouldn't mind doing that again for work. I wouldn't mind managing people, making schedules, ordering product, selling product, like all that stuff felt really, really fun and really, really cool. But it wasn't my dream job. It wasn't the ideal situation, of course, but I definitely saw the silver linings of that job even while I was there. And there were some days I came home and I would, like, at the time Sarah and I were just dating, but she would just hear me vent about employees calling out or not working hard enough, or my other boss is getting on my case. But that, honestly, that really never happened. Sometimes, definitely sometimes. But in those moments, I allowed myself to be upset with the job. I allowed myself to be upset with my situation, and that propelled me to finding other ways to be happy. That's your big question, is how can you find time to be happy? So for me, when I was working 60, 70 hours a week consistently, that's when I started doing YouTube. That's when I found something else that really brought me back to this state of zen. It de-stressed me. It was therapeutic. It was great. So let's do some math really quick. Let me pull up a calculator. This is very unprofessional, but 24 times 7. There are 168 hours in the week. I was working between 60 and 70. We'll just lowball it. I was working 60 hours a week. That left me with 108 hours. Literally, really quick, just aside, when we opened up the new supermarket in 2013, I worked 29 days straight without a day off. It was wild. It was insane. But it was kind of a lot of fun, like, thinking back on it. It was cool. But I worked like 14-hour days for 29 days straight. My Sundays were a lot less. They were like 6-hour days, but every other day was like 14-hour days. It was insane. But that's what happens when you open up a new supermarket. So 108 hours are left in your week. Now you're trying to find time to be happy. Now, one of the best things you would be able to do is, if you don't like your job, is take steps to finding a new one. Now, huge thing you must understand when you're not happy with your job. I will never, ever condone just leaving your job without another gig lined up. That's just not my personality type. I didn't quit supermarketing. We're going to call it that. I didn't quit supermarketing. I love that. Until YouTube was in a stable enough position where it had overtaken the income that I was currently making at the job. I would never, ever, ever advise pursuing something, especially something online, especially something very competitive and passion driven. I would not consider pursuing that full time until it is recouping. If it's not going to put you in a position of danger, and a position of danger isn't just financial. I think it's very unhealthy not to have goals, and having a work schedule gives you those goals automatically. And that's something that, if you remove yourself from the situation a little bit, even if the job is making you unhappy, try to remind yourself that working is a good thing. It is. Maybe not working 70 hours a week is a good thing, but working 40 hours, 30 hours, whatever it ends up looking like, having some sort of structure, filling your time with more than just sitting around and doing something is a good thing. Now, of course, that could be different for someone else's story. Someone else could have all the money in the world, not need to work, and instead they spend all their time, let's say, volunteering. That's extremely healthy. The real benefit of work is that in our society, it gives you structure. It gives you structure. It gives you a little bit of purpose, because most times people are working, I'd say 80% of people are working not for the work that they're doing, but for the paycheck at the end of the week. And that is usually where you'll find yourself least happy, is when you're just working for the paycheck. And you can pretty much almost every job, you can kind of remove yourself a bit and see that there are good parts of that job. There are benefits of that job, whether it's meeting new people, learning new things, developing new skills that you wouldn't if you weren't working at the job, and appreciating that job for more than just the paycheck. Now, that's not going to help you find time, but it will increase your happiness because the job is no longer just sucking the life out of you. You're getting new skills, you're getting new experiences, you're meeting new people, you're doing those types of things from it. And there's value in that. You'll see eventually that there is value in that. I was just talking to someone very close to me a few weeks back, and we started going through just like all the different jobs that he's had and all the different jobs that I've had. And you see that there's value in every job, every single venture. Don't ever just cut ties and burn bridges in professional environments. I don't think that's smart. It will come back to you. It really will. At some point in your life, it does. So don't ever let the unhappiness that a job is giving you just let you go. That's it. I'm done. Of course, if you're being treated very unfairly, underpaid, as in literally other people doing the same exact job as you are getting paid more, and you've spoken up about it, and your boss is not fronting, then yeah, I mean, you should start looking for a new job right away. But being able to take a job in its entirety and see the benefits you are getting from it, and understanding that there are a lot of people that would kill to have any job. I know I still have friends that went to school and can't find a job. So if you're in a specified field and you have a job, that's incredible. That's such a huge win, at least in my area. So that would be the first step to increasing your happiness. Now, when it comes to, let's get back to the hours of the week. If you're working 60 hours a week like I was, you have 108 hours to play with. Now, the one thing you can do, obviously, is sleep less. Now, I do not advise this. I'm not a medical professional, but I was sleeping around 6 hours a night and sometimes less, but 6 hours a night. So let's just assume you're burning the candle a little bit and you're only sleeping 6 hours, because I think you can get by. I know some adults that only sleep 4 hours a night and they are in peak condition when it comes to health, but that's obviously variable. If you feel, always listen to your body. If you feel like you need more sleep, you need more sleep. But if you oversleep, then you feel groggy. That's why they suggest between 6.5 and 7.5 hours. 7 to 8 hours is usually what they suggest. I was doing 6. So 6 times 7 is 42. Let's take away 42 hours. We're down to 66 hours of living. That's work is done, sleep is done. You have 66 hours of living. Now that seems like, I don't know, kind of seems like a lot to me. But I get that it isn't, because you divide that by 7. It's about 9.5 hours per day that you get to just do what you want. Yeah, that's actually a lot of time. That is a lot of time. It's going to come down to time management. Now, obviously, there are things in life that we have some other obligations besides just work, obviously, whether you have a religion and you like to go to church. Understand that as you get older, you have to understand that there are some obligations in your life that you're going to have to remove. They're not true obligations. They're self-imposed obligations. And for me, I find joy. So an obligation for me would be my family, not my immediate family, but my semi-immediate family, like my in-laws and then my parents and stuff. Now that I'm grown and I'm out on my own, like spending time with them is semi an obligation, but it's one that I love. It's one that I enjoy. It brings me happiness, but it does, like, I know every Sunday I'm seeing my family. So that's one of my 9.5 hours technically pretty much gone, probably closer to 7, but 7 hours just gone. But even though it's gone, it's being spent very well, and I enjoy spending time with them. So it comes down to finding happiness in all the ways you're breaking down your time. I was hoping maybe you have some ideas. So I don't know, 99 hours is a lot of wiggle room, man. It's a lot of wiggle room. It's just going to take you building a schedule. Something very good that my brother does, my older brother, is he has his to-do list for the week. He includes everything on it, his work hours, stuff like stuff, his obligations. Then he blocks out, he literally builds a timetable of when he's going to do what, down to like spending time with his kids and then watching a movie with the wife and all that stuff. And having a structured schedule for type A personalities, as my brother is, it works really, really well. And if you've never tried that, you can try it. But it's going to take some real conscious effort, some making actual decisions in order to find happiness and make time for the things that truly make you happy. Kind of like we were talking about yesterday. You have to really know the things that bring you the most happiness, the things that really revitalize you, and make sure you make time for that at least once a week. Like as long as it's not destructive in any way, then you have that will revitalize you. For me personally, my revitalization day is Sunday. Sunday, I wake up, I go to church in the morning, and then I spend the rest of the day with my family. Sometimes I'll work for about 2 hours. I'll record a video, edit, and upload it if I'm not on top of things. But ideally, I take that one day and refresh. Like, I think it's so important to have that one day of just resetting, resting, and getting ready for the next week, because life does move. It does move fast, and you do have to do a lot of work in this life for certain things you want. Now, of course, the other thing you can do is you can lower your standard of living. You can move somewhere really cheap where you only have to work 30 hours a week to live and rent an apartment. So sometimes you have to step back in your life and say, do I want too much? Like, there's no reason for me to be paying $350 a month on a car payment when I don't even get time to enjoy that car, for example. There's no reason for me to rack up all this credit debt on things that I'm not even getting to use. Because then you're just working however much just so you can scrape by. So there's a lot of different ways to bring up that happiness. We'll just review them really quick because that's what I like to do. Number one, find the joys in your current job. If you find absolutely zero joys, make moves. Start looking for a new job, but do not leave your current one, in my opinion, until you have something lined up, because you don't want to be in that financial state. 3, sleep less. That'll give you more time. That's really one of the only things we truly have control over. If you're in a healthy position and you want to try it out, you can totally do that. There's actually some crazy sleep studies on people that do these insane naps where they only sleep for 4 hours a day. I do not advise that at all. That sounds crazy to me. But some people do it and it works for them. And they have like literally 19 hours a day instead of just 16-ish if you sleep 8 hours a night. So that's another way to make more time. Then 3, find the things that, 4 find the things that really fuel you and make time for that at least once a week. Understand that that's like your rejuvenation step. That's you getting ready to do the things that take a lot of energy that you don't find 100% joy in, but then look forward to that one day, that day where like, yes, Sunday's coming, Sunday's coming, Sunday's coming. And that can kind of really bring your happiness meter up. If we were Sims, that's one way to really shoot your happiness meter up for sure. I hope that somehow, and then 5, build a schedule. Literally from hour to hour, block out what you're going to be doing and stick to it. Obviously, once in a while, there's going to be a curveball. Don't get too upset when your schedule gets messed with, because some things are out of your control. But understand that you have to make the effort. Use everything in your control to stick to that and give it a shot, because maybe that'll work for you. With that, though, I think we're going to wrap this Talk to May video up here. Thank you so much for watching. If you gleaned anything from this video, let me know in the comment section down below. If you learned something, if you didn't, if you have any other ideas on ways to help out Seeking 1548 that I didn't touch on, please, 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 please leave a comment down below. Let's help the shady person and maybe the other shady people that are looking to increase their happiness when they're at a workplace that's taking a lot of time and not bringing much joy. With that, though, I'm going to get the hashtag out of here. Have yourselves a fantastic day, but above all else, keep it shady.